Here, I really want to work personally on a few things, and one of them is being a better man. My wife wants me to give up sugar. No, she really does. It's time that we behave as different people. I went to church while I was on vacation, and I read in Joshua 3:5. And basically it says, hey, clean yourself up and prepare because profound miracles are coming tomorrow. And it won't leave me alone. And I think that is what we're supposed to do. But it's not just clean ourselves up. I was at the ranch this last couple of weeks, and it was really beautiful up there. We had all kinds of snow. That's my son. He read, I think, 4 books while we were on vacation, and the snow was just so deep, and it was incredible up there. And this rug has been sitting in our front entryway since this summer, and I want to talk to you about this rug. This rug is exactly the kind of rug that I used to lay down on as a kid and watch Gunsmoke. This is the show. This and Wild Wild West are the shows that my father used to watch. And I was the channel changer, and it would be on a rug like this that he would say, Channel 7, and I'd get up and turn the channel. I was the remote control in the good old days. This rug was made for my family and I. And it was made for us this summer by a woman in Spokane, Washington. And we got it, and we loved it. And I just thought it was great. Somehow or another, when I walked into my house, this was on the kitchen table. And nobody knows how this got on the kitchen table, because the last time I was there, it wasn't on the kitchen table. And I didn't know what it was. And my wife picked it up, and she opened it up, and she said, oh my gosh, honey, this is about the rug. I said, oh, really? How did it get on the kitchen table? And I started reading it, and I wanted to share it with you because this is so important for you, I think, and all of us. It's put together by the lady who made the rug, and it says, the American Storyteller Rug. It's made in Spokane, Washington. Dear Beck family, what an absolute joy it was to build this rug for you and your family. And I say build because I was not the one who designed it. This is the history of how the American Storyteller, that's what she named this rug, came to be. A few years ago, I heard Glenn reminisce about his grandparents' rag rug. And the thought came across my mind that I should make him a rug. It overwhelmed me. But I was new at the craft, and immediately I dismissed the idea. Months passed, but the Spirit continued to press on my heart. I argued the ridiculousness of it, and many times I said no, claiming it's the dumbest idea ever. What did I know? That's where I want to stop here first and tell you this. Stop saying no. Stop saying it's a dumb idea. Stop saying can't be done, shouldn't be done. That's a silly idea. Just left my office where a kid who is in college in, I think, Ohio, said he wanted to be a graphic designer for TheBlaze. We're hiring graphic designers right now. And his professor said, what do you want to do? What do you do when you graduate in a year from now? What do you want to do? And he said, I want to be a designer for TheBlaze. Immediate F. Everybody laughed. And then the professor said, how are you going to get them to even look at your stuff? He said, I don't know. I'll just have to pray on it. Well, I just left my office where I was looking at his stuff today. And it's brilliant. And if he didn't want to waste another, I don't know how many thousands of dollars on tuition, I'd hire him right now. Don't listen to people who tell you it's stupid. Don't listen. If that person is telling you it's stupid is you, don't listen to them anymore. I'll give you one more story on this. A good friend of mine, Mike Lopelka, works for us. We've been best friends forever. He just got a promotion here at TheBlaze a couple of weeks ago before vacation, and one of the best guys I know. Spiritual guy. And has really had, ever since Restoring Honor, had an awakening with God. He started doing the 30-day challenge, and he did it over and over and over again. This last year, he decided he was just going to listen to all of the promptings. We had been talking, and I said, you want to really change your life? Don't dismiss anything. And so he's spent the last year listening to the promptings and just obeying, no matter how crazy they seemed. He lives in Delaware. He wrote to me a couple of days ago and he said, Glenn, the night of the big storm was coming in. He said, I was all tucked in bed and I was comfortable. And I had a prompting, go out and check the hoses on all of the spigots outside. And he's like, it's not like we have, yard gnomes sprinkling out water. It's winter. He said, but I made a promise to myself I would listen and obey. So I did. He said, I got dressed. I got all bundled up. He said, I put a flashlight strapped to my head. And I got my gloves and I got the pliers and everything, and I went outside. He said I checked all of them, except the one at the end. And he said it was so far out and I didn't want to check it, but if we're going to do it, just do it right. So he went all the way there. He got about 5 feet away from that hose and he smelled gas. And he immediately ran inside, called the gas company. Within 10 minutes, they arrived at the house. Said if he wouldn't have found that gas, it was a profound gas leak. He said, I don't know if the owls would have had a smoking party back there or whatever. He said, but it would have blown everything up. The guy from the gas company said, what were you even doing out here? Why were you outside? He said, I had a prompting that I should check all the garden hoses. He said, the guy from the gas company just looked at him and said, boy, somebody's looking out for you. Let me tell you something. Somebody is always looking out for you. Somebody's always trying to tell you, just like it did here, trying to tell you, just do it. Long story short, she says, I made this rug because we met last summer. And she said, I decided to do it, and she had been collecting different fabrics. Now, I had this, I told you, at the front door of my house. That's before I got the story behind the rug. When I read the story, I moved it. That picture showed you a minute ago, my son in the house by the bookshelf. That's not at the front door. I moved it because I no longer wanted it by the front door. It was far too important to be by the front door. She said, I call this rug the storyteller rug because the rug itself tells a story. Almost all of the wool was salvaged from yard sales and thrift stores. It represents years of searching and hearing the stories behind the fabric. A hunter's wool used to stay warm on a cold morning. The military blanket of a soldier who proudly served. The childhood dress of a woman now grown. A jacket from a first job interview. Grandma's wool buried in an attic chest. A fabric whose intended purpose was long ago forgotten. It's all in there. We all have a story to tell. This is the story. This is Krista. She made the rug. These are the Hansons in Spokane, Washington. We all have a story to tell. We all have a reason to be here. We all have a job to do. And too many of us, unfortunately, are telling ourselves or telling others, no, that's stupid, that's foolish, don't do it. She couldn't imagine making a rug. And you know what, Krista? Out of everything in our house, in our ranch, I could lose everything, but I would hate to lose this rug. I got on the airplane 2 days ago, and I rolled this up, and I carried it on the plane myself, and made sure it didn't leave my sight because of the meaning behind the stories in this rug. The message I want to give to you tonight before we go into the news is tell your story. What is your story? I don't know. Don't listen to anybody, whether they're an art teacher or they're you. Don't make it so the gas company comes out and says, holy cow, is somebody looking out for you, before you recognize the miracles that you have waiting inside of you if you would just tell your story. Back in a minute.